off again. Put it to you only way.
Good morning. Welcome to NUFC Matters with me, Steve Wraith. It is Tuesday morning, which means I am live with Liam Kennedy taking your questions. And as always, the first half of the show, we'll take some questions from Twitter for those who can't watch live, and then we'll dive into the chat for the second half of the show. Morning, Liam.
Morning, you all right?
Aye. How's life at NewcastleWorld.com?
All good, really good. We're growing, as everybody knows out there. We're a bit of a startup in the summer. So, yeah, all positive. Plenty of people out there. Lots of support, I imagine, from the NUFC Matters community. Everybody reading the stories out there. And I suppose if I was going to put a message out there today, it would be, as you guys know, I'm the editor of Newcastle World. And I've employed a Newcastle United writer. He's a lad called Jordan Cronin. So if you can, little early message in the show here, but give him a follow for all your latest Newcastle United news. Of course, I'm not stepping away. I'll still be writing odd piece, and I'll still be going to games and all that kind of thing. So you'll still get and press conferences and things like that. So you'll still get the insight. You'll still get the inside stuff from me. But yeah, give Jordan a follow. It will make his day as well.
We'll have to get him on the show.
Yeah, I said that actually. I was gonna broach that, see if you can come on.
I'm up for that. If Jordan wants to come on, we'll get him on. Maybe it's next week if you fancy it, mate. And you can always have a substitute there when you want to have a holiday. Get Jordan in to talk about stuff. So yeah, we'll see if he's up for it, and he will, of course, be more than welcome. Everybody from Newcastle World is okay. Straight down to business. Colin Wilson with the first question. The signs down must mean a new sponsor very soon, in my opinion. Any idea? The director of football rumours have quietened down since Mirdad denied offering Emanalo the job. Are there any front runners for the job? And who would be your choice? Lots of questions there from Colin, getting these pounds worth there. The Sports Direct signs coming down certainly made everybody's day yesterday, didn't it?
Yeah, massively so. It was really good, really positive. It's almost like the final remnants of that 15 years of dross at St James's Park has been eroded. Tacky blue and red rubbish that sort of, as Amanda put it so eloquently, just spoils every photograph that anybody takes of our home, our beautiful ground. And it'll be quite a moment, actually, I think, for a lot of people out there walking up to St James's Park and not seeing that garish, like I say, Sports Direct rubbish all over the place. It will be quite a surprise. There'll be some people go to St James's Park who've never seen anything but. They will know nothing but the red and the blue everywhere. And I would suggest that there is a lot of red and blue, a lot of signage there. And I think common sense suggests that there will be something replace it. There has to be, probably. Otherwise, there'll be a lot of blank spaces and a lot of wasted opportunity to get somebody else in, to be honest. I think there is a feeling that there will be a resolution to this Premier League stalling of the sponsorship related company sponsorship. So I think we could see progress on that. I'm not going to say I'm au fait to any rumours as to who might replace, but we've all seen the idea. A lot of it was floated, the idea of a Saudi airline. That's not one that I'd heard, but I know a lot of people have talked about that. I'd suspected it would be some kind of flagship, one of the flagships of the project 2030, be it NEOM or something along those lines. But look, I think we'll have to wait and see. I don't believe for one second that they'll take all that away and not have something lined up. It could be the case it's taken away initially and then something comes down the line, because of course these rules do need sorted out. But look, they're astute business people. They know what they're doing. And whatever comes next, you've got to treat this as it is. Treat it as a moment. It is one of those moments. It might mean nothing to football fans elsewhere, where their sponsorship things are changed within a ground. But those signs and the plastering of them all over St James's Park have become synonymous with the failure of the 15 years of Mike Ashley. And I think it'll be almost like a lifting of the gloom at St James's Park. On the director of football thing, any regular listeners of this show will know that I'd spoken at length about Michael Emanalo and talked about how a lot of the noise was coming from one end and not necessarily the other, which always suggested to me that he was never the top choice, much like Paulo Fonseca was never the top choice for the manager's job. So I think there's been a lot of noise. There are other people in line. I've heard loads of names mentioned. Of course, we'll have heard the lad at Liverpool, his name escapes me at the moment. There's a lad, Mitchell, who used to be at Southampton, who's now at AS Roma, is one that is mentioned. I've heard Victor Orta mentioned, the lad at Leeds, who had a meltdown the other day. I seen him on Sky Sports News shouting a ball at some fans.
Yeah, it was class.
It was. so yeah, I've heard numerous names mentioned. And again, it'll be one that they take their time on. It's a big appointment. Again, regular listeners to the show will know that I'm not somebody who thinks it has to be immediate. I don't think it's a one that has to come in now. Of course, it would make things easier. I think one thing that I've probably taken from the first 6 to 8 weeks or whatever it may be of the ownership is there probably needs to be a bit of delegation. If I was advising them, I would advise, look, you can only do so much. And I think you need to maybe get some executives in at that football executive level to maybe do a bit of firefighting. A 6-month job, a 12-month job. It doesn't have to be a long term. But I think they do need to delegate and get some people on board who can maybe deal with the 101 jobs, as you know yourself, Steve, that lie at St. James's Park. There is a lot needs tidied up and a lot needs sorted out. There's a culture change needed. And that can't be done by 2 people, which is effectively what's been happening for a large length of time.
Yeah, okay, Colin. I hope that answers your questions. Somebody asking, Darren Cowan asking if we're having a beard competition. No, it's winter, man. It's winter. That's the
I know. Thing, I've got a bit beardy. Like I think I was sort of trying to. I'm not going bald though. I'm not gonna follow you on that one, Steve.
No, not yet, mate. Not yet.
Well, it'll come. That day'll come.
If Mike Ashley stayed, you probably would have gone bolder quicker. Like I think.
Yeah, I think so.
If Steve Bruce had stayed, you would have definitely gone bolder quicker. But okay, back into the questions. Rog, 1986. He's just asking, do you think there will be a new sponsor imminent? I mean, I think there will be, Rog. I think Newcastle's new owners aren't going to be sitting around waiting. They're going to act quickly, but nobody really knows who it's going to be. And like everything's like a gift wrapped surprise at the minute with these new owners. And I do like the honesty. I've got to be honest, social media can be a poison chalice and it can be a blessing in disguise. And Mirdad's presence on social media, I think at the moment, because everything's going well, is positive. And it's good that he can interact, and it's good that he can put up positive messages like he does. And it's good that he can put, quash a rumor as simply as that, about the director of football position. My concern is if things went the opposite way, let's say we lose every game in December, what happens then? Because interaction on social media suddenly becomes a bit of a nightmare, or we get to January and we don't spend what some fans are expecting we spend. Then, social media, that poison chalice, is it going to be easy to avoid it? I don't know. Not my problem, but, the new owner's problem. They know what they're doing. It's a new...
I think you're right, though. I think you're spot on, Steve. I think, and I don't necessarily think it might be a short-term thing.
I'm not having a dig, by the way, Liam. I'm just being honest.
And I agree with you. I actually agree with you because I think we've seen it play out at other football clubs where somebody on social media, it's all good when it's going well. I don't necessarily think, I think there's probably enough grace this season to think that they'll get by, but there will be a point inevitably over the next few years while they're owners that things won't be going well. The fans will be upset with the manager. They'll be upset with some decisions that have been made. They might be upset with the league position or whatever it may be, or some bad signings. And those are the type of things that just build up, and the flack will come Mirdad's way. And it wouldn't surprise me at some point that he will probably leave social media. It's sad to say, but it's probably a reality of the situation. So just enjoy it while he's there. Met the guy I was talking to him on Saturday. Me and Jordan had a good chat with Mirdad. Really, really, really nice fella. Really nice fella. And it's only when you speak to these people and you see them away from maybe the football environment, we're just talking about, kids, family, whatever it may be. You see how nice these people are and how lucky I think we are to have people like that at the top end of our football club.
Yeah, I agree, mate. I agree. Watch this space, I guess, with that. Gary Cooper says, how many players in January and what positions? I think 4. 1 fullback, 1 centre-back, a central defensive midfielder, and a good backup for Wilson. 2 centre-backs and 2 fullbacks, if pushing it, 1 each side. I mean, we've had these conversations, and I'm sure we'll have them again between now and the end of January. Centre defensive midfield player, we could probably get away with Joe Linton in that position, I reckon. We definitely need backup to Wilson. Full back, yeah. If Dummett's not going to play, I mean, I don't know, you know, it's a repetitive calf strain, we keep getting told, but, you know, we need backup at full back if that's not the case. And I keep saying, and I know, you know, people keep putting, you know, a question mark over this, but we need a good goalkeeper. We've got Dubravka, but we need another good one. We don't have strength and depth in that position, I don't think. Watching Darlow and Woodman flapping like, you know, seagulls at the start of the season, I don't think we've got enough backup. They may be different now that Eddie Howe's in. I don't know, but I would get a really good goalkeeper, a really commanding centre half who could potentially captain the team at some point. I'd get a creative midfielder because although Shelby's played well in the last 3 games, is he going to continue? And I would get a good centre forward who can hit the ground running and who can score goals. I doubt we'll get somebody that we can buy in January in that position, but a centre forward who we can get in on loan, a bit like we did with Loic Remy a few years ago. That's what we need. If we can get it, if we can pick up a good buy on the continent who's going to hit the ground running, fantastic. But I doubt it. So that's my view, Gary. Liam, what about you?
So yeah, I tend to agree with most of that, Steve. To be honest, I think it's really interesting the point that you make on the goalkeeper, because you know, as anybody regular listens to the show know that I love Martin Dubravka. I think he's fantastic. I really do. I think he's a top class Premier League goalkeeper, one of the best that there is. But one thing I would say about this style of play that Eddie Howe's trying to implement is that you need your goalkeeper to maybe be a bit better with the ball at feet. I think that's maybe becoming a little bit apparent. But I think that could be one that you could knock to the long grass and deal with later down the line. For me, the priorities have to be central defenders, fullbacks, and central midfielders. I think everywhere else you can probably get by, and that would be my priority, would be to get a good couple of fullbacks in, at least one centre half and one central midfielder, and then if you can go and sort it out, you get rid of Gale and bring in a striker, like you say, Steve. I think that's got to be, if I was to aim for it, would be 5. It would be 2 fullbacks, a centre half, a central midfielder, and a striker. I mean, I know that sounds like virtually every position, but I think that's where we are. The chronic underinvestment in this team. I would argue that Shelby and Joe Linton are probably 2 players who maybe have cemented their place in this team, which
I agree,
which has been a surprise. Shelby might have been one of those, every new manager that comes in, a lot of Newcastle fans will ask the same question, or they'll be talking about the same things. They'll think, right, that's going to be him then. That'll be him now. A new manager look at him and not fancy him. And to be fair to the bloke, he's knuckled down. And I don't think he deserves a whole lot of credit for it, because all he's doing is producing the kind of consistent performances that we know, the ability that he's got. And I think that's been the consistent frustration people have had with somebody like John Joe Shelby, is that they know he can do it. They know he's got the ability. It's just he never does it and never really wants to do it. That little 5% of fitness could be making a big difference. I think Joe Linton's gone away from the game, done a lot of building of himself physically and mentally. Look, and I would say he is somebody, and I know he's not everybody's cup of tea, and he wasn't my cup of tea. I'd written him off in February. If play back the tapes in February, I'll be writing him off.
Yeah, me too.
But I think he's a strong character. I think, and that's a big thing. You think of the amount of stick that he's taken, the problems that he's had, the issues. I think he's a really strong character, and I think he's somebody who could continue. I still look at Joe Linton and believe there's more to come. I don't believe that that's the finished article, but there's a lot in that team. I think Alan St. Maximin's been disappointing. I think he's one that hasn't cemented his place in the team. Is purely on there because he can win a match. But I think I was disappointed with him against Norwich. I'll be absolutely honest with you.
He's let himself down in the last couple of games. And I mean, to be fair, forwards and attacking players do go through that kind of spell. I mean, Callum Wilson didn't have too good a spell. The penalty
he hasn't been playing well, I don't think, Wilson.
No, the penalty probably gave him that, get in, celebrating a goal. And then that goal he scored on Saturday was fantastic.
Yeah, and that's why you have, like you say, Steve, that's why you have these players in forward positions. Wilson and St. Maximin haven't been playing well. Wilson wins you 4 points in a week. You know what I mean? So that's exactly what I see. He hasn't been playing well, but he's got 2 goals. He's got 6 this season. If he stays fit from now until the end of the season, hopefully Eddie Howe, knowing him, having signed him, had him for years, will know the way to manage Callum Wilson. We know Steve Bruce was an absolute disaster with injuries. he has been every football club that he's gone. So hopefully Wilson might get a knock or two, might get a little pull or two here and there, but hopefully Eddie Howe, knowing him as he does, will be able to manage him and see him through the season, because that's going to be crucial. I think after I'm going on and on here, Steve. It wasn't the start. It took us 2 questions to get into it, but I think when the dust settled after Saturday, the obvious jubilation, the positive vibes that came out after that game, and it was. But I think now the dust settled and you have a bit of time to think about it. The task is still quite an incredible one, given that the fixtures that we've got coming up. Leicester feels a whole lot more winnable. Of course it does. I don't think they're any great shakes this season. Go there and get something. Then the week that you're almost, and I argue this with my dad all the time. He says you write the games off. It's hard to write games off when you're in a relegation battle. And I never like writing any games off because I think anything can happen. But if there was going to be 2 games, and you like this, if there's going to be 2 games you'd write off, it's the Man City and Liverpool games that come within 3 days of each other, because I've watched both of those teams. I've had the chance to study them a little bit. Wow, both of those teams are on an absolutely different level in Newcastle United. They're on a different
level. I'm going to interrupt you because Ethan's question on Twitter, it's the last one on Twitter. He asks how many points are you expecting from the next month, and I would say Leicester a point. I had Man United down as a home win before Ranić went in, but they're going to be more organised by the time to come to us. I still think we'll get something out of Man United, but I'm probably going to pull that back to another point now. I think that will be an entertaining, high-scoring game with 2 teams both looking to press. Man City, I think we'll get an out. I think we'll beat Everton. I think so. 3-4. That's 5 points, and then I think we'll go to Southampton, and I think we'll get a win at Southampton. So I know that's drifting into January, but I can see 8 points out of the next set of fixtures.
Yeah, and then January's fixtures is against teams that they're the home games that you're into the games you should be winning. So I think they've just got to put themselves in a position. I think I'd hope if we can get a point at Leicester, and I think that will be key going into those 2 games. It'll just mean we stay in touch if other teams get points and win. So I think a point at Leicester is imperative. I'm the same as you. I believe we can go to Everton and win. Callum Wilson's goal scoring record against Everton's incredible, so I expect him to go there and score. I think they'll be expecting the same because he's just that type of player against Everton. Scored down there last year, of course. And Man United, like I do hold some hope for the Man United game, whether Ranić's there or not. It's the 27th of December. It's a sellout. It's a night game, importantly, around the Christmas period. We know, just look at the juxtaposition between the 2 atmospheres, and this is no criticism, by the way. Norwich, positivity, loud, really big atmosphere that was on Tuesday night. Saturday, just because it was at 3 o'clock instead of at 7:30, 8 o'clock, atmosphere is dulled a little bit. It always is on a Saturday slightly. I think there was more nerves, of course. I think people were a little bit more nervy going into that Burnley game, but I think night games are big. I don't know why it happens, but the atmosphere is always there. So I think the 27th is one of those days, and we can do it against Manchester United. We've proven that in the past in big occasions, big home occasions anyway. So yeah, I think. Look, I think a bare minimum for me out of that sequence of 5 games is 4 points. I think they have to get 4 points. I think that'll keep them in touch. If they don't get 4 points, and I'm actually being conservative here because I feel like you. Ideally, I think they want to win. I think they want to win 2 of those games before the Southampton game. But I think 4 points is the bare minimum that you have to think from the 5 games.
Pablo Jones on Twitter says, after these 4 games, do you think Eddie Howe is the man to take us forward? Yes, I do, is my answer. Simple as that. Liam?
Depends where forward is. Do I believe he's the best man for the job at this present time? I think the evidence is there. I think they're much improved in a very short space of time. I just reflect back on Rafa Benitez and the time it took him. It took him 5-6 games to sort of really get things, 4 or 5 games, to get things really moving in his direction, and then properly in the next season. So I think Eddie Howe, in a very, very short space of time, has turned this round. I think they're a team capable of getting results now, whereas I didn't feel that before. Even reflect on the Arsenal game, it wasn't a disaster. They deserved to lose that game, but it was a 2-0. I think 3 months ago that's a 5-0 or a 4-0. I really do. I just think the way there was a moment in that second half where you thought they could start wobbling here and it could end up 3-4-5, and it didn't. but that happened quite regularly under Steve Bruce. Collapses in the second half, lack of fitness towards the end of the game, not being able to stay on. And I think that has been really noticeable for me. And it was nice to see someone like Callum Wilson mention that, because the fitness has been a disaster this season. And I've always doubted whether you can get a team fit, properly fit in a season. It's one thing you always speak to football professionals about, and they say it's a real struggle. And I think Eddie Howe has just got that extra 5% out of the whole squad, and it's really reflecting in the performances of certain players. They stayed on. That was incredible. They basically played nigh on 90 minutes that Tuesday night last week, and managed to continue going. They weren't crumbling. They didn't fall to bits. I think that's a testament to the new manager. So do I think he's the man to take us forward? Yes. Do I think he's the man who can take us to a next level? I think that chapter's still to be written. I think we just don't know where Eddie Howe can take her, but I think the early signs are good.
Yeah, I would agree. Kenny Ranson, he says, Cambridge in the Cup, do you think this is a chance for Dwight Gale to get a run out? Or do you think it's going to be a few of the youngsters? What do you reckon? It's a good cup draw.
It's a good cup draw. I think you'll probably see, after a really busy Christmas period, I think you'll see changes. And I think rightly so, because ultimately, and it's a rubbish one again, I remember saying the same thing last year, it's just, I'm sorry, but the FA Cup just is not our priority this year. It just isn't. The situation, if we're fourth or fifth bottom, I might say something different, which hasn't been the case in recent years. But because of the gravity of this one, being bottom of the table, and I think we're going to need every ounce of effort to remain in this division this year, make a bit of history, Premier League history at least. After following the worst start of the season Newcastle United have ever had, I just think the FA Cup's a write-off. And I wouldn't argue with, I think it'd be a good time to see Elliot Anderson get some games. It'd be a good time to see Joe White get some games. These type of players before probably sending them out on loan. Dwight Gale, for me, it's neither here nor there. I just think his last season's Andy Carroll, even less so. He's no use to anybody, really. It just makes the decision to give him a contract even more baffling. But we know why those contracts were given out. It was cheaper to give contracts out because Mike Ashley knew he had a good idea that he wasn't going to be worrying about those contracts, and wouldn't really have to worry about the end of this season. So look, it is what it is. I wouldn't be particularly thinking about Dwight Gale, unless they absolutely had to. Unless it was a case you need to rest certain players, you just play Dwight Gale instead before he goes out. But I think he'll be one of the first names out the door in January, because he himself will not want to not be playing games. He'll want to play games for any football club, because he hasn't really played games for the last part of the 2 years.
No, exactly. Okay, thanks for everybody who sent those in on Twitter. I got through them all quite quickly. Dan just asks a simple question. Morning, lads. Liam, have you had your head sharpened?
Head sharpened? What do you mean?
I don't know. Does that mean a haircut?
Maybe. I don't know. I've had a trim, but
no, you've had a trim. You see, people don't miss things on the screen. I mean,
they're always on about me hair, man. I was saying
this is it. The hair, the lighting, the dog. Where's the dog? Is the dog kicking about?
Well, she was eating the Christmas tree there, so I had to get my wife to come in and take her out the room. So there'll be no shots of the dog today.
Classic. Great win for the youngsters last night, winning the local derby. Yeah, beating the Mackhams. It's always good. Doesn't matter what level. Kirk says Premier League cannot enforce their sponsorship block. They are an association of undertakings. The Premier League have now to stand on, cited Competition Act 1998. Thanks for that. Scott says, still early days, but do you think we've seen enough fight from Newcastle to stay up? And if so, which 3 teams will go down? Good question, Scott. Yes, I do. A lot more effort, a lot more fight, a lot more commitment. Again, this is what my opinion is. Which 3 teams will go down? Norwich, yes. I think Burnley will probably scrape it. I think Southampton will drop. And it'll be between Brentford and Leeds. I think Leeds got Bamford back now. I think Brentford might go, because there's a lot of football still to be
Brentford
played
as well, yeah.
Norwich, Brentford, and Southampton. That's my tip.
I don't really mind, to be honest, who goes, as long as it's not us. Norwich are sure to be nailed on to go down. Burnley are rubbish as well, but they always get out of it. Brentford, I wasn't impressed by Brentford, to be honest. So I think they're a good shout. And Watford, I can't fathom Watford. I don't understand them. They seem perfectly capable of getting shock results here and there, which is the kind of thing that teams do when they stay up. But when Newcastle played them, they're one of the worst teams I've seen this season. So on that, I would say the 3 promoted teams could be the 3 that go. But I'm only basing that on the idea that Burnley mostly stay up. And Leeds, I think, with Bamford back, might just score enough goals. The the ones around the fringes who Everton pulled themselves away last night, they've got too much, far too much to be getting involved. Southampton's another funny one. They always seem to get themselves out of it, but there's only so often you can keep chipping away and taking their best players out of the team and not really replacing them. So their time will come if they continue down this avenue. They haven't replaced goal scorers. They haven't replaced key defenders. But look, I don't care as long as it's not Newcastle. Newcastle are prime candidates. I think most people, if you ask them around the country, will say who's the 3. It'll be Norwich and Newcastle will be the 2 that they say more than likely. So I think
16-1 for a top 8 finish. At the bookies at the weekend. That's how the bookies are thinking. Keith Patterson, morning. Good to see you at the weekend, mate. If the Big 6 block any loan deals and top game changers are fearful to join us at the bottom of the league, where do you both think the January recruits will come from? I still do not believe that we will have some kind of, unified set of players, teams, whatever against us. I think we'll be fine. And I think agents run football still. They'll dictate where their players go. And I think we'll have people queuing up. As long as we're not 15 points adrift with no hope of staying up, I think people will want to come to Newcastle and they'll see the crowd. They'll see Eddie Howe doing a great job. They'll see the smile on the players' faces. Players speak to each other as well. I genuinely believe we will get the players we need in January by hook or by crook. And I think we'll get a couple of loans in, and I think we'll make a couple of permanent signings. That's my thoughts, Keith.
Yeah, I agree, Steve. I think the permanent signing one, as I've discussed on here, is a bit of an awkward one. And Keith makes a really good point. Top game changers won't want to come to Newcastle United because you've got to remember there's a World Cup at the end of this calendar year. The end of next calendar year. So you'll have some lads who might say, would I sign for Newcastle United permanently in January and risk being in the Championship? And then that's my World Cup hopes gone. Players in and around the fringes, the type of players you might end up looking at, your Lingards, etc. It's a risk. It's going to be one that people are going to have to weigh up. I don't think Newcastle United will have as many problems as people say. But I do think they might have to be quite agile in the market because it might become apparent quite quickly that deals can't be done quickly with certain clubs. Certain clubs won't want to sell, but certain ones will. And I think a lot of it's bravado. Money talks. You want to play her out. Does it really matter as long as you get the money that you want or a little bit more or whatever it may be? I think money talks. I think Newcastle will be the same players. I think they'll have to look at the foreign market as well. I think one club that people have mentioned a few times, talking about Harry Winks and things like that coming. For me, I don't think Tottenham. I think the last thing Daniel Levy will do is sell any player or even loan a player at Newcastle United. So that would be the biggest surprise ever. If Tottenham managed to sell or loan anybody in Newcastle United, I would be very surprised.
Yeah, I would. I would be the same as well. Yeah, if I was in the huff like Levy is, I wouldn't do it. But yeah, it's a good point you make about the World Cup as well, mate. Keith Patterson's just said that. Gary says, do you think there might be a new kit sponsor mid-season? All these club shop offers seem to point to something going on. I mean, it is Christmas. We've got Black Friday,
Yes.
Extended Black Friday. We've got Monday, Cyber Monday, whatever they're called, all of these different offers. I think it's probably, maybe he's reading a little bit too much into that, Gary. I don't think we'll change our kit sponsor mid-season, but I would imagine there will be movement on that next season. Again, that's only a guess from my perspective. But what do you think, Liam?
I stand with you there, Steve. I think you're absolutely spot on. I think
we've agreed virtually on everything today. There's got to be something we disagree on.
Well, I haven't spoken about Matt Ritchie yet. I haven't spoken about Matt Ritchie yet. That's why.
Not getting a mention.
No, Gary, I think it's fair. The point you're making, the dots you're joining there, that you could come to that assumption, but I'd be very surprised if a kit's changed during the season. Very surprised.
Yeah, okay. Liam, do you think Matty Longstaff still has a future at our club, and do you think he might be involved in Eddie Howe's plans? I'll say yes. I think everybody started with a clean slate, and I think you'd be looking at Matty Longstaff and going, not getting a game up there. he'll have asked about, see what the crack is. Why did he go in the first place? Was he the mole? Or was he just not getting on with Bruce, which a lot of players weren't, let's face it. Could this guy potentially save us a few quid? If I bring him back in, could he be a useful player? We know that he's a box, you know, he can be box to box. We know he's got a strike on him. I think Eddie Howe could get them, and we've already seen in a short space of time what he's got out of Joe Linton, what he's got out of Lewis, what he's getting out of Shelby. You know, Matty Longstaff coming back in January wouldn't surprise me at all. What do you reckon, Liam?
Again, Steve, I'm in agreement. I think I want to talk a little bit about this Matty Longstaff situation, to be honest.
Go on.
I think it's a frustrating one looking from the outside in. And the reason why it's frustrating is players of certain levels and abilities always get sent out on loan. And ask any manager, I've worked in the lower leagues of English football, worked in the National League, etc. Ask any manager down there and they'll all tell you the same thing. First loans. I don't want a Premier League club's first, like a kid's first loan, because they're always a disaster. First loans for kids are like literally like their first time away. Like they're learning everything. They're making the mistakes on the job. Most managers will be looking saying, can I have a second loan? Can I take him where he's, you know, he's already had his month somewhere else and then he'll come here ready. Matty Longstaff is having his first loan, it feels like, probably 2 years too late. This is the type of loan he should have been having a couple of years ago to iron all this rubbish out, then come back, then go out again. Just look at the loan periods his brother had. His brother had these loans and then went and it wasn't until I think maybe his third loan spell that he really kicked on at Blackpool, I think it was. So you've got to say, like, it's just, it's the club, the way that they've ran this loan system, the way they look after the young players, it's all wrong. Look, do I think Matty Longstaff's going to be a world beater? No, I don't. I don't think he is. But I think, can he be better than what he's shown at Aberdeen? Absolutely. There's no doubt about that. I think it's a shame, but it'd be nice to see Eddie Howe sort of, you know, get his hands on him, see if he can mould a play out of him, because I do think there is a little bit of ability there, I do.
Yeah, me too. Okay, as always, a big shout out to our sponsors, and we've got a few this month. So big thank you to Spider VPN for all your internet security. Google Spider VPN, and they come up at the top of your sponsors list on Google. So get yourself onto Google Spider VPN. They can protect your computer, your photos, everything on it. Get yourself Spider VPN today. Thanks to skipsandbins.com as well. Telephone 0800 25 45 25 3. Email inquiries at skipsandbins.com. Website www.skipsandbins.com. Easy contract free and pay as you go waste collection. Also, a big thank you to L&G Family Funeral Directors, and you can contact them on 0191 389 7245. New sponsor this month, Garden of Healing Dispensary, CBD Hemp and Cannabinoid Specialists. You can find their website at www.thegohd.com. If you get onto their Facebook page and give them a like, just simply subscribe to the newsletter on the website, like their Facebook, and check out the blog section for full details of a competition to win £100 gift voucher. So well worth having a pop on there, but find them on Facebook and go to the website and subscribe. Thank you to Arcot Interiors as well. Nice to see an old sponsor returning, Chris Collins. It was good to catch up with you as well the other week, mate, when you popped into the Irish Centre. And he is based on Heaton Road. It's luxury kitchen and design services at affordable prices. Thanks also to qtechshop.co.uk, the makers of pool tables and snooker tables in Wallsend in Newcastle. And of course, John runs our website, NUFCmatters.com. Thanks to Jab Signature for making our flyers, jabsignature.co.uk. And Newcastle Legends logo in the bottom right-hand corner is how you subscribe. Just click onto that and subscribe. It is free. We still do 7 shows a week. Hit the thumb up underneath this video to like the video. It does help us with the algorithm. Click share to share to your social media, Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, whatever. And drop into the comments box to speak to like-minded Newcastle fans and to pose a question on screen if we can get through them all. And we've got iTunes, Spotify, Podbean, you name it, we're on there. We usually go up 24 hours after the show has been complete. A lot of people are asking about Bobix. It is cancelled. I forgot to take it off the system. So, of course, Chris and Pete didn't know that and promoted it last night. The Bobix talk in this Thursday sadly is off. I think COVID's affected it a little bit. The ticket sales weren't great, it has to be said. So we decided to put it off until the COVID restrictions and stuff lift again. I think a lot of people are a bit more nervous about going out with this new variant. So we will leave it until next year. You can make a donation, however, to the food bank at NUFC fans, foodbank.co.uk. The match day bucket is up there all year round. So get yourself onto there. And if you want to wrap up warm, get yourself onto our website, the NUFCmatters.com website, and you can get yourself a nice Christmas jumper. You can get that one, the cult one, or you can get the Peter Beardsley scoring a hat-trick against Sunderland. Hark now here jumper, NUFCmatters.com. And don't forget, you can become a member. We'll have a prize draw every month. Cult member, NUFCmatters.com. 25 quid, one-off payment. You get a cup, a pen, a membership card, a nice scarf, a bag, and you go into our monthly draw, some great prizes. Don't forget as well, books or a good Christmas gift. Every Boy's Dream is available at the website, which you can see underneath me, badboysbooks.net. You can also pick up a copy of Pavel is a Geordie and the NME book as well. So get yourself on there. And a couple of events for January if you want to buy these as stocking fillers. Steve Watson is at the Irish Centre on the 28th of January, and Mick Mahoney is at the Irish Centre on the 14th of January. Both events are £12 each. NewcastleLegends.com is the website, and just click shop to buy those tickets for somebody who you might think want them for Christmas. Also, a big shout out to Andy McNabb, who I interviewed yesterday. As you know, I do true crime. I do quite a few other things. Andy McNabb, of course, one of the best SAS soldiers we've probably ever had, and somebody who's got a great story to tell. I interviewed him yesterday for the podcast. That'll be one of my first ones next year. But I did an hour with him. It was absolutely fantastic. And if you've got Sky, get yourself on there to catch up with SAS Red Notice, which is out now. I'm going to start watching that. I haven't had time yet, but it's an Andy McNabb special, and he's written some great books. Not sure if you're into them, Liam, but fascinating guy to speak to. I've met him a few times, but to actually interview him was great.
I really look forward to watching that podcast, Steve. Can't wait for it.
And don't forget, Newcastle World is where Liam works, newcastleworld.com. He mentioned it at the top of the programme, but get yourself on there. Make sure you subscribe to his new reporter as well, Jordan Cronin, and make sure you follow Newcastle World on Twitter if you're on that particular social media platform. Some great stuff going on there. Always plenty to talk about, as we know, with Newcastle United. Okay, back to the chat. And Sutty asks if Mirdad and Amanda have signed up to their NUFC Matters cult yet. They were former members, I think. They can't be associating with us these days with them running the club, but they did used to watch the show prior to buying the football club. So yeah, they know all about it. Put it that way. Geordie Tune for life, not football related, but will you lads be stopping up for the Ashes? I know you're busy lads, but nice to watch a couple of hours of the first test. I tend to tune in the morning. I can't be doing this up till God knows what time watching it, but I'll get up at about 6 a.m. and I usually tune in for that. What about you?
I normally do. Yeah, I normally do. I won't be today. Just life's too busy, far too much going on. I can't exist the next day if I've only had a few hours kip. So I'll not be doing that, unfortunately. But I've got to say, Steve, I think it could be a really painful winter down under. I think I'm expecting at least a 4, potentially a 5-0.
Yeah, okay. Liam, what's your thoughts on VAR? Says Tom, do you think we should get rid of it?
I didn't watch last night's game, so I've not seen VAR, but I've seen the stills that people are sharing on social media of certain incidents. I'm led to believe that the offside one isn't a true reflection with some of the ones that have been going around. But I think the stamp one, the one where he's caught him high up on the body when he's on the floor, the stills of it don't look great. So yeah, I don't know. I quite like VAR, especially when it goes for you. When it goes against you, it's not so great.
Yeah, there's a big exclusive there that we've got on the screen. I saw Liam buying Pringles from B&M's in North Shields.
Do you know what? I did a ball pack. This must have been on might have been Saturday or Sunday. I think it must have been Sunday. We're out and about. Went to Pets at Home, which is right next, just off the Coast Road there, and we popped into B&M to get some bits and got myself some Pringles. I should probably keep off them. I should be slimming down before Christmas.
Only got about 5 minutes to go. I've got a podcast to do with somebody else, another channel. So we're both having a slightly shorter show today. So we'll go with this. We've agreed on everything today. So Kenny Ranson, the naughty bugger, has put this in. Oh. Do you think Newcastle United are doing better since Matt Ritchie has been dropped? Okay.
I don't think.
Go on. No, go on. I thought you would want me to go first. I would say we have done better since Matt Ritchie was suspended and couldn't get his place back. And I would say that we've played better because we've put players who are supposed to play in that position into that position. It's as simple as that. So, yes, we've definitely played better. I feel harsh on Matt Ritchie, but people who've come in have taken that chance and they've kept the position. So, I don't think you're going to find that me and Liam are going to disagree on this. I'm going to be perfectly honest. I think we've probably have played better, but it's only because we're playing Lewis in the left fullback position, which is where he should be playing. And we always said Matt Ritchie wasn't a left fullback or wing back.
Yeah, and I agree with that. Yeah, I think one thing I would say is that I'm not going to blame Ritchie. To be honest, I'm not going to blame Ritchie for us being better since he's gone out, but it is purely because players are playing the right position. One thing that I would say is, defensively, Lewis hasn't been tested all that much. So I think we'll just reserve judgment on how good Lewis has come in and been. I like him, but I think defensively defensive work isn't his strong suit. It's his athleticism and getting forward is what you get from Jamal Lewis. So we'll wait and we'll reserve judgment because he will be defensively tested if he's kept in the team over the next few weeks. And I think we'll probably get a fairer judgment towards Christmas if he gets a run of games.
Francis, take care, mate. It's not good. I mean, obviously, we're going to get this storm in a few hours' time, I believe. But hopefully, everyone stays safe out there. It's not good. It's to see these storms hitting in, and some people get hit once, twice, and three times. So just stay safe, everybody out there. Liam, you've already given a mention to NewcastleWorld.com, but do it again, mate, before we finish, and just tell us where people can find you and it.
Yeah, so check out whatever social media platform you might find yourself on. If you just like the internet, check it out, NewcastleWorld.com. Go on Twitter. We've got a Twitter handle. You'll find we're at Newcastle_.com, at Newcastle_world. Follow me writers, particularly Toby Bryant, who does all the news stuff. You like that kind of thing. Jordan Cronin, who does all the football, as I mentioned earlier. But also we're on everywhere. We're on Instagram. We've got 2 Facebook accounts. We've got a dedicated Newcastle United Facebook account as well as a regular Facebook account. We've also got we're on Instagram if you like pictures of the area and that kind of thing. And we're also on TikTok. I'm not going to lie, I don't know a lot about TikTok, but we're certainly on there, so give it a follow.
Great stuff, as always, Liam. Pleasure to have you on, mate. I hope you have a good week and look forward to seeing you next week. And make sure you ask Jordan. It would be good to get him on too, mate.
We'll get him on. Right, good stuff to you.
Take care.
See ya.
Attack. It feels like I've been talking to myself again. But it's